Ghostbusters. If they catch you, you're through. What's up, Creepers and Geekers? Christy, Atari Creep. How is everyone doing today? You know, I have a PKE meter somewhere around here. I was kind of hoping to have a visual, even though I'm going to be saying the name Paranormal Pausers or Spirit Stoppers, whatever the fuck the movie was called. Ghostbusters from Frozen Empire. You're just going to have to pretend this is a Ghostbusters prop, so you know what I'm talking about, you know? So, yeah, Ghostbusters was a movie made by people, and there were actors and actresses in it, and they pretended to do things, and stuff happened on the screen, and then the movie was over. I mean, what more can I say? It was all right. It was all right. I actually have notes I took last night for this video. I was going to do it last night, but I was just too freaking tired. I said maybe bedtime's the best for this, and I'll do it in the morning. So this little section here is all non-spoiler, and the rest is spoilers. So I will start the non-spoiler now. It's just literally a brief overview and my overall thoughts, and then I'll tell you when I'm done with that, and you know when to shut off if you don't want to. There's really nothing to spoil other than the actual story. You know, there's no like Luke, I am your father, you know, that kind of thing. I know it's, no, I'm your father. Don't fucking correct me in the comments, you fucking 20 fucking people, you know. I never understood that mentality. It's like, there's 3,000 comments. Do you really think no one has brought that up, that you are the smartest motherfucker on the planet? But we're not here to complain about people. We're here to complain about a movie. No, actually, you know what, overall, I thought it was fun. It was well-paced. Well fucking paced. It moved, but not at an exhausting breakneck speed. I'm going to say something that's a little contrary to my next statement, but it had a lot of people in it. People that probably should have... I don't know. I'm 50-50 because there's a couple of storylines in there. And okay, so this is going to be the most divisive thing I personally think about the movie altogether. It isn't just a Ghostbusters movie. There's like elements of the real Ghostbusters, and they're not even hiding it. They're not hiding it. It's not like I'm you know, special cool kid that just figured it out. You know, they're not like a new what do you call it? The Force Awakens. Of course, it was a retread of A New Hope. They weren't even hiding it. They just, you know, it is what it is. So there were some little plot elements that kind of harken back to that kind of format, you know, like some needless shit over here, but it's still fun. It's still fun. Like that wolf, whatever the fuck his name is, the kid from Stranger Things. And this is in the trailer, so you can't tell me I'm ruining anything, but he's trying to trap Slimer. You know, take it out, it has nothing to do with anything. It wouldn't hurt anybody. It would not fucking destroy a damn thing, but fun little things like that I think people are gonna be like, well, that was needless. But you know what? So what? It was fucking fun. Let me see what I have written here. But I do still think there are too many people. I think bringing in a couple of the characters from the last one, podcast, and I can never remember the character's name, that young lady, the black young lady, Wolfhart, whatever the fuck his name is. I wrote it down here somewhere too. His love interest from the last movie. She was there too, and there's something podcast does with Dan Aykroyd. I probably didn't even say that right, but there's like this little introduction of them, and I think it worked out perfectly. But then I'm saying to myself, why logically would this kid be here? And I'm always talking about the suspension of disbelief in movies, and so what? And it really felt that way. But when you think about it, it's like, really, did those two really need to be here? Couldn't they have been other characters with the same type of personality, which this movie has them in? But I don't know. The movie was funny at times, and it was scary at times. I could see little kids getting a little, you know, like in the 80s when they didn't give a fuck about scaring the shit out of you guys. Something wicked this way comes. I'm looking at you. But overall, I'm going to say it was a great movie. It was a fun movie to go see and then just forget about the next day. It felt like, it really did. It truly did feel like a Ghostbusters movie. I think the balance between the new and old was perfect. I really do. I think the balance between the new and old was perfect. And the only other thing I want to say is there are some emotional moments in there. Not anything like Harold Ramis's fucking ghost. Nothing like that. There's like this little sub-story of the dude trying to grasp the stepfather role, you know. And there was one quick moment that a lot of people are noticing, I'm sure. But it's a single word that was used. And I can completely 100% identify with that. I'm not going to get into it. It's definitely it's stepfather trying to do the right thing by the children, in which are not his biologically, but he cares for and wants to be that figure for them, you know. And there's this little moment at the end that just makes it all worth it. And again, as a stepfather, I can 100% hone in on that. And I had that same experience. That finally, you know. I can totally get it. Let me see if there's any more non-spoiler bullshits here. Overall, fun movie, and it's fast-paced. We talked about that. Too many people. We already talked about that. And I wrote a bunch of stuff about it. The movie was directed by somebody and starred a lot of people, and I was trying to be as vague. I was trying to do my red letter media thing, but I haven't even watched theirs yet. I've not watched a single review because I didn't want to be influenced by them. I wanted to see if I could recall my own bullshit. So here we go. Spoilers. And again, there's really nothing to spoil in the movie aside from just little plot points. There's no, you know, no, I am your father. You know, no moments like that. There's no, like, I don't know. There's a lot of nods. I will say that. There's a lot of nods in it, but I wouldn't consider that shit spoiler. I mean, I'll leave it out, but until you go away. So if you don't want to be spoiled by anything I may say here in the next however long, fuck off. Just fuck off. No, I'm just kidding. I would click off, and if you care to come back and finish the video, by all means. If not, whatever. There's a million reviews out there, and by all means. Moving on. Spoilers ahead. Spoilers in the house. More Red Letter Media. I love that channel. It's the best channel on the planet, and no one can tell me otherwise. It has a real Ghostbusters vibe. It really does. And I think that's going to fuck with a lot of people. It's going to fuck with a lot of people. There's a couple of plots. Again, I don't know if I said this or not, but because I've done a few takes of this intro, my intro, where the elements could be lifted from the story and it wouldn't do anything, but they were fun and they were added in there and they reminded me of the cartoon. There would always be that one little stupid thing that was happening while the major thing was going on. That was just kind of a thing that came back a few times. It wasn't a big deal. It was just there for a quick little filler. One of them with that Wolfhart kid. What is his name? Wolfhart, I think it is. The Stranger Things kid. He's just trying to, and this is in the trailers anyway. Even though we are in spoiler territory. But he's trying to catch Slimer, which, you know what? I didn't think the Slimer thing was too hard of a callback. Why is he living in the fucking Ghostbusters firehouse? I don't know. But it was funny. It was funny. And I thought it was cute. I didn't fucking dude's using Cheetos and shit. He literally put a trail of Cheetos and then put him in the ghost trap to get him to come out and do the thing. But, and villain of the week kind of situation. Even the opening reminded me of that style of thing. You know, you just open right into the shit with some other side story that happened that you know nothing about afterwards. But it somehow has a little bit to do with the rest of the film, just to kick it off. I mean, there's like a little story before that, almost like the library scene in the original, and then we jump into the modern day people, and all I have to say is it's got a lot of vibe of the cartoon, and it was designed that way, and I don't think they were even trying to hide it. So there was a lot of focus on the year 1984, and I don't know if a lot of people are going to pick up on this, and I'm fucking wicked excited. I am wicked excited to see if others are picking up on it, and or I'm out of my fucking mind. I'm just making this shit up. But even before the movie, there was you know how they play the trivia, but it was all Ghostbusters centric. I've yet to ever see that, but I don't go to the theaters that often. But one of the featurettes was a lady or a dude come out saying 1984, the original Ghostbusters came out. You know what else happened in 1984? One of those, hey, a year in the life of 1984, so to speak. So they focused on that quite a bit. And you know, of course, they showed a bunch of stuff from all Ghostbusters to this point. Showing the trends and the serials and all that stuff. And then the movie started, and I'm starting to see little peppers of things that are specifically 1984, and I'm only going to mention one. And there are two references. One I think is blatant, and one could just be in my head. But the original Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 1984, and the director I know, I think they did the Poltergeist remake too. So I don't know if they're into horror as much as, like, say, a bunch of us are or whatever. But there was a wicked callback to the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and the scene where Johnny Depp's trying to convince his mom that he's staying at his cousin's house, and he's got the little cassette player with the airport sounds, and it goes, oh, fuck, you know? There's a character that does a very similar thing. Has a cassette player. Yeah, I'm at that thing. I'm not really where I'm at, you know? And I'm wondering how many people are going to connect it to that. And I hope it's really a true connection. I really do. There's also a thing with a red tricycle in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, which was 87. I know that's not an 84, but it's still connected. So that's the one I'm kind of stretching on. But I did notice, if you watch the movie multiple times, I bet you're going to find all kinds of neat little things all over the place. The references and callbacks I didn't find them to be obnoxious for the most part. There were a few you kind of go, but they were subtle. They were thrown in properly, and there was one in particular that my lady didn't see. I was laughing. She's like, what's so funny? So, okay, again, spoilers. There's a whole section where Ernie Hudson has developed a Ghostbusters research facility, which is actually fucking awesome. Again, going back to the cartoon vibe. But it's done well. It's done straight. And it's wicked fun. And then you have these new characters that come in, but they're just panning. People are walking by and they're learning about the thing. And if you look in the fucking background, like really far, there's a glass window and someone's being sprayed down with pink slime, like in Part 2. Like, it's subtle. It's just almost like Gremlins 2. If you go into the laboratory, there's stuff all over the place that Zemeckis and them thrown in there. Is it Zemeckis? I don't know. Whoever made Gremlins threw in there as nods to their favorite stuff from their childhood and stuff. But it's kind of that same idea. It's there, but you have to really either look for it or just happen to notice it. And again, in subsequent viewings, I'm excited to see what more is there. The movie had a lot going on. Too many people, but it didn't feel bloated. The center just felt hollow, but it didn't take me out. Does that make sense to you? There's a lot that could have been cut out. And again, going back to the cartoon vibe, but I wasn't bored. I was not bored once watching it. And it's, again, nice pace, always moving, new things to introduce, new people to do the fucking things. So that's enough on that. The 84 references. Not in your face callbacks. I just banged that one out too. God damn, am I efficient at this. I'm not good at it though. The OG cast was actually really good. Dan had a more prominent role. Ernie Hudson was like the money guy. You know, if there's a paycheck in it. So he was like the suit guy. You know, Aykroyd was, you know, he has his occult bookstore. And the movie starts basically with him buying a relic. The MacGuffin of the story. You know what I mean? What is his name? Kamal something or other. Johnny or Johnny or whatever. That dude comes into this movie and fucking steals it. I know he's not OG, and we're talking about the OG cast, but he just fucking steals the show. I think he was the star here. I really do. 90% of me cracking up was because of him. His comedic timing and his pacing is just perfect. And you could tell he ad-libbed a whole bunch of stuff, and it was just perfect. It was great. It really was. And he had a wonderful arc. I'm not going to get into that. That is kind of a little bit more than I probably should talk about. But he becomes a very crucial part of saving the day. He doesn't become a Ghostbuster, and maybe he will in the next movie, should they make another one. Hopefully this one's, you know, successful enough to either warrant a series or maybe even like a Netflix program kind of deal. Because that's what this kind of felt like. And I think maybe the oversaturation of side stories could have been stretched out, because they were all great ideas. Don't get me wrong. They were all great and or fun. Trying to catch Slimer up in the attic with the fucking Cheetos. I mean, that was fun, you know. Fucking Slimer's hiding underneath a pile of junk food wrappers. We're talking chips, candy, all that crap. And so it was perfect. And, of course, Slimer had a nice big booty. We do get to see the booty a few times for you Slimer bootians. It gets the thumb up from me. I smash it. I'd smash Slimer. Slimer's a squirter, right? But yeah, the podcast kid and that other chick, I don't remember her character name, and I honestly don't know her, you know, birth name, her real name. It didn't take me out, but maybe it should have been other people, you know, characters that were already in their world there in New York. By the way, it takes place in New York and not at the farmhouse, so if the trailers didn't show you that, then I don't know what to tell you. The side story, let's see, the conflict with the daughter and the mom was fucking interesting. Wicked spoiler line, and I'm going to say it, so if you don't want to, again, fast forward a good minute or so. But there's been conflict with the daughter, the smart daughter, and the mom. Whereas, you know, it's that, you know, you're too young and that kind of a thing. And she's angst and she's a teen, but she's way smarter than everybody else in the room. And at one point, she looks at her mom and says, if you weren't a Spangler, you would never be a fucking Ghostbuster. Basically calling her stupid, you know. And it was kind of fucked up she said it, but in a way it was true. So that plot kicks on. And, you know, that becomes part of the conflict of the story. And that leads her to, the young lady, to make decisions that probably weren't the best. And it causes a lot of the conflict within the film. But it gets resolved actually a little too nicely, you know. There was no, you shouldn't have fucking done that. It was like, I'm sorry. Hey, no problem. And a big hug. And then that moment with the stepdad that I was talking about earlier. But Dickless is in it. Dickless is in it. And he's the mayor. I don't know if I agree with him being the mayor, but you know what? The guy came back and he literally played the exact same role, just as a higher up within governmental organization. And he plays the exact same role. I'm shutting you down. What you're doing is dangerous. The world fucking hates you. That kind of a thing, you know? It's not really much I can say. Oh, I didn't even finish with the OG cast. Dan was pretty cool. Ernie Hudson was perfect. I mean, he wasn't... What I'm trying to say is these people weren't just thrown in there because, hey, you remember Ghostbusters? Well, here they are. Elderly, you know? They had specific purpose, and it felt organic. I think that's the way it should be said. It felt organic. It felt organic. Bill Murray, on the other hand, he was definitely 1984 Venkman. You could tell he was phoning it in a little bit, and 50-50 of his gags worked. I wish they didn't put Tall, Dark, and Horny in the trailer. And they did that because it was the best joke he fucking tossed out there. That, and the little thing where he finds something that he had hidden there probably many, many years ago inside the firehouse. The only one part I walked away saying that was fucking stupid, honestly, was a section where a part of the fire pole gets cut off and used for something. And then that Kamal dude comes down it later on like nothing had happened. There's no missing section. So maybe they have a pole somewhere else. Maybe I missed something somewhere. Continuity bullshit. I don't know. That was honestly, and I mentioned that on purpose because of that. It was honestly the only thing that made me, it took me out like that much. And I was like, what? Because he starts going down a pole and I'm like, he's going to lose his nuts. There's like a section this big missing from that. And he's going to get caught. He's going to be like, oh, my fucking jewels. But now, overall, and I'm sure there's going to be 100 things I really did want to say as soon as I hit the stop button. But overall, guys, if you like Ghostbusters and you can just shut your brain off and just enjoy something that's new, I think it's the perfect balance of old and new. I think even more so than the last one. The last one was kind of, you know, I liked it, but it wasn't enough for me to want to repeat view it. This one I would watch a few more times, mainly because it's like an Easter egg hunt. Honestly, I should have prefaced the review with this. I'm not an enormous Ghostbusters fan. I love the first movie. The second one I find is okay, and they reference that, by the way. So for all you Ghostbusters 2 is not canon because you don't like the movie, fuck you, it is now. It absolutely is now. I mean, I even mentioned the slime from the River of Slime is even being used in the background. So, but they reference all of the past Ghostbusters bullshit in New York with the Walter Peck character, I believe. You know what else they did that was actually pretty cool? And I'll leave you with this. I'll leave you with this and then my actual final thoughts on it. Is they referenced how big the Ghostbusters got in 1984, and they were showing the cereals that you and I got in the Ghostbusters toys, and the big square PKE meter and the proton packs that you could buy with Playmates. Is that who made those? Someone tell me in the comments below who made those toys. They referenced all that as part of the sensationalization of Ghostbusters in their real world. So I thought that was pretty cool, bringing us, vicariously into the Ghostbusters universe, as if we weren't doing it as fans of a show, but as fans of the actual entity that is the Ghostbusters. I've been calling them all kinds of shit. I've been calling them, spirit stoppers. My buddy's like, what are you going to go see? And I said, I'm going to go see poltergeist pausers. But if you've seen it, let me know down in the comments. Don't leave any spoils down below for at least a week. Please, I really would appreciate that, because I know there are a lot of people who won't watch the spoiler section, but they'll go down in the comments. And I mean, I guess that's on them, but please don't leave any spoilers. If I missed something, or if there was some kind of a vibe or a plot point, something that you felt I missed and should have talked about, maybe put it down below. And if it's a question, maybe I'll write it down in my next live stream. I'll try to stream tonight or tomorrow or at some point. I had a really good stream the other day if you want to watch it. It was pretty cool. It was literally just sit and chat. I had a guitar in my hand, barely played it, but it was a good time. So let me know down in the comments what you thought of the movie. Have you seen it, or do you just not even care? I liked it. I thought it was really good. Really good. I wouldn't call it great, but I think it's the first Ghostbusters movie that felt like a Ghostbusters movie while doing its own thing. Perfect blend. Perfect blend and separation. Honestly, it really is. It felt like a proper continuation. Though I know a lot of people are going to puke on it because they want 1984 Ghostbusters. And I don't understand what it is with that. I get nostalgia, man. I want 1980s fucking Freddy and Jason too, but that can never happen. I mean, everything went into it, like the film stock and shit, I mean, there's a lot of things from that time period that you just can't replicate. And that's lightning in a bottle. I know everyone keeps saying about Ghostbusters, but you're not going to get that. So you're either going to get a good story moving forward, or you're not. And I think this is on the good story moving forward line. Guys, thank you always so much for watching. I can't say that enough. 24 minutes worth of me babbling about a movie. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Wherever in the world you are, I hope you are doing well. And until next time, take care. Creep it real. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. It's all positive to me. And bye-bye.